Thanks for coming back to What the Heck is Happening in HR. And today we're going to focus on what we can expect, maybe my crystal ball, as to what will happen after January 20th when the election results actually take form in Washington. That's today on What the Heck is Happening in HR. For our podcast disclaimer, please visit the episode description. Today, in What the Heck is Happening in HR, we're going to focus on post-election. So some of the things I think will be happening, I'm just going to share those so you can add them to your list. And I'd love to hear from you on LinkedIn to let me know what I miss. What else should I talk about with it? What do you think is important to it? We will be focusing on federal rights or laws that I see as some of them changing or focuses that are changing. But remember to pay attention to your state laws that have changed or will be changing come January. There were a lot of laws that affected whether it was marijuana, whether it was abortion, whether it was paid leave, whatever those are, and those changes in the states where you work, you want to be sure you're very aware of them. I do think we will see more posted down to the states, or there will be a greater definition of the federal rights and the state rights. I do think we're going to see some deregulation. I think we are going to see a change in focus at the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, besides the commission itself changing. I do think we'll see a slowdown of this speed to union elections. The National Labor Relations Board will definitely have more of an employer focus, I believe. And I do anticipate a change in the general counsel there. Not that I have any inside scoop on any of this, these are all pure Kelleyisms. But I think after lots of time in HR and my undergrad, one of my majors being political science, I watched this and I enjoy watching what the process is. I think as we see deregulation, we will probably have a series of executive orders, just as we had 4 years ago, just as we had 8 years ago. But I think if we have a unified Congress, if we have the House of Representatives and we have the Senate aligned with the executive branch, I believe that you're going to see much of it codified. You're going to see those executive orders then become legislative issues so that they are going to be part of law. So there won't be as much, if you will, whiplash back and forth. I don't think we should be surprised at that. I think from a Department of Labor standpoint, there will be a focus on opening the gig economy. That has been an item which the current administration has not wanted to have as many independent contractors participating and more a focus on employees. I think we're going to see more open for a gig economy. Of course, there's also going to be the no tax on tips was one of the President-elect Trump's platforms he carried forward, including no tax on overtime. You're going to want to be sure your HRIS system is up to be able to support that. I think overall from the Department of Labor, we'll see more guidance and maybe less enforcement, except for one item, which I'll come back to. I do think we'll see an increase in opinion letters. I think there'll be more education around it. I'm hoping there'll be also some focus around workforce development. Now, that one area that I said I think will be very enforced will be your I-9 forms. I think we will see that due to the stance coming on immigration from the Trump administration. So I think you want to be sure your I-9 forms reflect those legal, documented workers that you have. As far as the FTC and non-compete, it's kind of hanging out there. I think, again, we're going to have a more employer friendly administration. And with that will probably come some aspects of the removing the ridiculousness, if that's such a word, from some of the non competes, but giving the opportunity for people to be employed and having that right to be employed, but at the same time protecting those trade secrets and protecting the businesses and being able to make sure there's a sort between those. I think one aspect around talent acquisition is that with no tax on Social Security, will that open up another pool of people for an encore career, for part time work that will help us fill some positions? So I think we need to keep our ears open as to what that means and how it can be applied to our businesses. I absolutely see an increase in technology. I think we need to become very savvy in AI. I think we need to know what it means, but at the same time, know that AI is programmed by people and it learns that way. And so biases can continue to be part of that. I don't know what's going to happen with OSHA. I really haven't studied that enough. I mean, certainly keeping people safe on the job is something that I think everybody is for, but I don't know of any specific item with that unless it relates to immigration and we have people in jobs that are unsafe and that we need to make them safe and we need to be sure that those are jobs and opportunities open to everybody. I think we'll see some support for right to work states. Things like the PRO Act, I don't believe will be supported. I think we may see some movement towards more paid leave. We saw that with the federal employees when President Trump was in before. I think we may see something with that come forward. Maybe not for the smallest businesses, but I think we will see something around that. And again, I think we will see something around executive orders becoming more into the legislation. Now, one question that certainly pops up in HR minds is, hey, Kelley, this isn't happening until January 20th. We've got this Department of Labor change with our exemption amounts here moving to a higher amount on January 1st. What do we do? I think if you haven't, this is a really good time to check those job descriptions again. Be sure they're up to date. Whenever we went from just shy of $700 and now we're going up over $1,100, look at the people within that range. Look at the people from $600 a week up to $1,200 a week. Look at those jobs. Look at those job descriptions. Be sure they are up to date. Be sure they're true. And when you do that, then you're going to be able to say, okay, so we're sorted out. So the only thing we have left to do, unless there's some sudden change through a court saying this jump from our current amount in the $800 range up to over 1100 is too big a jump. Unless it's stopped that way, you need to be ready because it's going to come into effect on January 1st and you need to look at your paychecks because of that. So you want to be sure that you have those job descriptions up to date, and then you want to be able to know what will it cost us if these job descriptions truly do pass the duties test, truly do allow them to be an exempt employee, and the only thing we need to fix because they already receive a weekly salary if it passes the duties test, that's two of my three legged stool. So the last thing would be the amount. How much will it cost us to move them to the new level? And then what do we do about those employees who have been with us for a while, who are already barely made it to that level? What do we do there? So, if you will, the collateral compensation that may need to change because of this change in the Department of Labor threshold amount. So, do I know for sure that all of this will happen? Absolutely not. But I think these are reasonable items to be able to consider, knowing where we need to have those conversations with our payroll company, with our payroll people, to be able to look at the states where we're working and to be able to check those I-9 audits and just keep your ear open so you know what is to come. And with that, I hope this helps you understand what has just happened and where we may be going post January 20th. Thanks for listening to What the Heck is Happening in HR.